Ever wonder how someone actually climbs out of just absolute, total darkness? Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be diving into a deeply personal, incredibly poetic text all about overcoming profound isolation through a dramatic spiritual transformation. If you're into unpacking how language maps onto psychological shifts and how vivid imagery tells a story of survival, you are in the exact right place. We're tracing one narrator's journey from absolute rock-bottom despair to finding some very real peace.
So, let's just plunge directly into it. The narrator opens with this: I was living in darkness. Boom. It's immediate, it's visceral. There's no gentle preamble or warming up to the conflict here. The speaker drops us right into the deep end of their despair, setting a baseline that is literally rock bottom.
And that opening sets up the ultimate juxtaposition for the entire poem. On one side, we've got the starting point, right? Living in darkness. And on the flip side, we have this desperate, eventual destination: take my soul towards light. This dynamic sets the framework for the whole journey we're about to analyze. It's a complete 180-degree pivot from total obscurity to this really intense plea for spiritual illumination. Everything that happens in the text exists right between these two extremes.
All right, let's look at section 1, Living in the Darkness. This is our before state.
Now, the speaker is suffering on multiple fronts here. This isn't just, a passing bad mood. They literally talk about enemies taking away my life, which is a pretty severe external threat. But then the trauma turns inward. They say, my eyes became weak, my vision became impaired. And honestly, this isn't necessarily literal blindness. It's more of a metaphor for an inability to see a way forward, just a total loss of perspective. And finally, you have the crushing social reality, this total isolation expressed in the devastating realization that, quote, no one cares about me. It's just a comprehensive breakdown of the self.
Moving into Section 2, the call for light. This is the inciting incident.
What's really fascinating here is the specific vocabulary the speaker chooses for this turning point. They don't just ask for, a gentle comfort or a quiet rescue. No, they repeatedly use the word ignite, calling on Jesus Christ to ignite my mind, ignite my heart. Think about what it means to ignite. It acts as a sudden, energetic catalyst. It sparks a profound internal awakening. It's a powerful, almost violent verb that indicates this desire for a radical, instantaneous shift in energy. They literally want the darkness burned away.
Which brings us to Section 3, Rewriting the Script. This is where we see a massive linguistic shift.
We start to see a super clear, powerful progression here. First, a mind ignited. That leads to a new script, which results in a completely changed destiny. The speaker actually notes that the script of my life is now written with your vibes, and that this actively transformed my mind, my destiny with your words. Notice the shift? The power dynamic has totally flipped. They aren't letting their enemies or their darkness dictate their story anymore. Instead, they're handing the pen over to their faith. And as a direct result of this rewritten script, their whole perspective fundamentally expands. We see it perfectly in these lines. Life after life, the seasons are right, heaven's in the picture. They've moved entirely beyond that immediate earthly suffering we talked about earlier. They are now embracing this harmonious, eternal timeline. The heavens are in the picture now, and that completely reframes how they view their current reality alongside their assertion that my love is Christ.
Okay, Section 4, Peace in the Present. We are reaching the ultimate resolution. This is where the massive contrast we've been building towards really hits home. Remember that internal turmoil from earlier? The weak eyes, the impaired vision, that overwhelming feeling that absolutely no one cares? It was incredibly claustrophobic. But compare that to the external peace they've now discovered. Now they're loving the world, they're looking at the trees, they're taking in the sky, the garden. Once the internal spiritual conflict is resolved, their initially impaired vision is healed. They can actually look outward again and appreciate the beauty of the natural world around them. It's a beautiful shift.
And the imagery here is incredibly grounding. The Bible in my hand, the heart in peace. Think about that. Holding a physical, tangible text anchors this newfound peace right in their present, everyday reality. But then, the very next line, I can see my Eve waiting for me in heavens, connects them right back to that eternal anticipation. They found a way to exist peacefully here on earth, interacting with the world, while simultaneously keeping their eyes fixed on what they believe comes next.
Finally, Section 5, The Power of Repetition. This is a crucial structural element of the text. So 3 distinct times throughout the poem, this exact stanza is repeated. It serves as this powerful kind of melancholic chorus. No one believes in my words, no one cares about me.
my faith, my religion, blessed my youth.
Which brings up a really crucial question we've got to ask ourselves. Why? Why does the author deliberately maintain this repetition of total isolation and sorrow, even after their destiny has been totally transformed? Think about it. Even while they're peacefully looking at the trees, they still remind us that no one believes their words and no one cares about them. Why keep bringing that up?
Well, the answer lies in the incredible power of contrast. You see, the repetition suggests that the external world actually hasn't changed one bit. People still don't believe their words, people still don't care about them. The literal darkness of the world around them remains completely intact. But, and here's the key, because my faith, my religion, blessed my youth, the speaker's internal state is now fully protected. The external world remains totally unsupportive, but it simply no longer matters to them, because their internal script has been completely and permanently rewritten by their faith.
It's honestly a fascinating look at how our internal narratives completely shape our reality, totally regardless of external circumstances. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to reflect on this overarching theme. The speaker found their light and they rewrote their destiny through their specific religious faith. So ask yourself, what foundational script do you rely on when you hit your own moments of darkness or isolation or impaired vision? What words, what beliefs, or what principles you use to rewrite your story and ignite your own light? Thanks so much for taking this journey with me today, and as always, keep learning.